Live, direct, New York. There it is. Little spring. I see some leaves creeping back in, huh? Spring coming early. Global warming doing its thing. El Nino bringing the wet. It's not raining though. It's kind of damp out there. We got some nice dry t-shirts. Got Tyler here.
What's up?
I don't know if Willie's gonna make it. She's got to run to the airport, so we'll see if she can squeeze this in. Got some brand new push-pull poly. 2 products, 2 experiments, and then we got some restocks, new colors. Actually, I don't think the concrete gray is not new, right? We've done it before.
We have done it before. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and then we got the salt pink, which looks nice. Let's do that first. The background. Oh, we got Willie.
Oh, nice.
Coming in for the flight. This Willie. Tyler.
I'm not ready.
Here, you can put on a salt pink.
Yeah.
It's cut 1. Or that's not a salt pink. That's a concrete gray, your favorite. Tyler can. But yeah, new color here, salt pink, concrete gray, cut 1, cut 2, ultra fine merino t-shirt. There's Tyler. This is the cut 1, old school cut.
This is what I wear pretty much every day.
Yeah.
This is like part of my daily uniform is this color. And
Yeah, in cut 1.
Cut 1. Well,
Cut
because
1.
I don't know if we've done it in the cut 2 before.
Oh yeah, well, let's give him the cut 2.
Time to switch it up, baby.
While Tyler puts it on, let's talk a little bit about push-pull. This is new, this is experimental. This is like what we love to do, but it's also hard. Because we don't understand this fabric. Do you understand this fabric, Willie?
I understand why I like this fabric.
Okay, well that's a good place to start.
Yeah. The technical understanding is a little different. I like this. I love poly. This is another thing about me, but I love that this fabric to me feels like a little cottony, very soft, and I love that it feels like it's like technically not a rib.
Not to interlock.
Yeah, but it feels like my dream, like old cotton rib tank top, and it wears like that too. That's why I like it.
Yeah, so here, let's take a look at this fabric. So, this is polyester. It doesn't feel like polyester. Nobody thinks it feels like polyester when they touch it, and there's a reason for that. Well, there's probably a couple reasons, but the easiest one is that this is a spun polyester. So you see how fuzzy it is? It's like fuzzy like cotton. And that's because it's spun like cotton. So, ordinary polyester is extruded, right? And it's like basically like making spaghetti. It goes through what's called a spinneret. Long extrusion of polyester. Usually it's round. Sometimes it can be flattened or given a groove, but it's coming out like spaghetti, and it's long, like kilometers long, right? Like it's just a continuous filament, right? Forever. And obviously it gets cut at some point. But that's, it like comes straight out of the spinneret as a yarn. It's done. This is different. What you do is you take the polyester and you chop it up into little staples, which is exactly like what wool or cotton, right? Particularly cotton, are these staples, right? Like something like this length could vary. I don't know exactly what the staple length is here. And those staples are all spun together to form yarn. So that's your classic spinning, your spinning Jenny, right? Spinning Jenny might have been about removing seeds. I don't know if it was actually for spinning. But you're spinning the yarn together, and you create a much looser. We lost Tyler. Fuzzier.
That's the tissue starch.
Yeah. Good. I just got a lot of tissues. Back. So you get a much fuzzier fabric, right? And so this is what drew us to this fabric, is we just touched it and we're like, this is. Polyester doesn't feel like this. This is intriguing. So we actually spun polyester for our straps, our bag straps. So, and it's the same sort of thing, right? So you see here, right? Like this doesn't really feel like what you think polyester would be, and it's got like a nice soft touch to it, and then it has a little bit of that fuzziness to it. So just a really nice feeling fabric, right? And that's what intrigued us. And the mill makes some claims about it that we're not going to talk too much about. I mean, that's where the name came from. They call it a push-pull fabric, so we're like, all right, we'll use that as the name. We don't really know if it does anything. They claim it helps you get drier faster. It's an interlock, and it's supposed to have a gradient density between the front and the back. It's really hard to tell. I don't know if this shit works. Honestly, like, we can't even tell if we put it on backwards. Like, I did a bunch of testing with water and stuff. It doesn't seem to make much difference, but it's supposed to keep you drier. But we're not gonna make that claim. It's just a name. It's a nice alliteration, push-pull poly. And if it does something to keep you drier, like, poly is really dry, right? So poly absorbs only. Tyler likes when I talk to the camera, so let me try that. Polyester absorbs 0.4% of its weight in water, right, in moisture. Nylon absorbs 4, right, so that's 10 times more. And cotton and linen, wool, they all tend to absorb about 25-30%, right? So that's like another 8 times more than nylon, and 80 times more than polyester. So when you have a fabric like this, like a poly fabric, and this is why it goes into a lot of sportswear, like, there's almost no moisture being absorbed. Obviously, like, you can get sweat logged in your polyester, and what's happening is that the poly is getting stuck in between the yarns mostly, like, and then it dries out really quickly because it's not inside the fiber, it's just in between the yarns. And poly, like, also wicks really well, so it spreads out across and increases the surface area. And so poly is really nice and dry, and that's why it's in so much sportwear. But this one, it feels like cotton. It's tougher than cotton as far as we can tell. It's really has like a nice pliable stretchiness to it. It doesn't feel snug the way, like, it's like it feels loose on. So let's get Tyler to put these on in a second. But first, he's got the cut 2.
Yep.
Cut 2, ultra fine cut 2, size medium. 6 foot, 165 pounds. Boom. Size medium. Yeah. What you want to start with? You want to start with the tank top?
Yeah.
Start with the tank top. I guess we only have this one size here. So there's a video with different sizes. Tyler wearing different sizes that you can check out.
And JP.
What?
And
Chris and JP. So there's a sizing video. It's on the Reddit. Is it going YouTube too, or?
Do not put those on YouTube.
No.
Good.
All right. So there's Tyler, size medium. Is this what you would take?
Yeah, I can definitely wear this. It feels very comfortable.
Yeah. What's your preferred size?
This one would be my preferred size.
Yeah. All right.
But,
Boom.
But
if
I
you want to
tried
lose,
on the large as well, and I could definitely take the large, and it's
Yeah.
very comfortable as well.
you get
This
a
fabric has so much give to it that it's very comfortable.
yeah. And so it really depends on how loose. It's a knit, so like there's a lot of variability. So it really depends on how, how loose you want your, right? Like.
But it feels very different than the New Earth cotton.
Oh yeah, the New Earth has like a compressive feel. This does not have a compressive
is like
feel.
The opposite of it. It's
This
like
has a
very-
loose, easy, dry, kind of open, but like slightly secretly warm too. Yeah, it's got like an interesting. It's not like you're like 100 degrees out sweating fabric. This is like it's 60, 50 degrees out sweating fabric. So let's go to the T. I guess you can just throw it on top. So this is the medium. Cut 0. There was a question earlier, why are we using cut 0 for these? The issue is that we built ourselves a trap. And so I don't know if cut 0 is the right thing. We've done it in a couple. And it's also coming in the Dreamweight, but that's because it was designed for the Dreamweight as the normie. But the issue is that we have, and this actually would be a good comparison, we have cut 1, our original cut, right, which is kind of like a slim cut, old school, your teens cut back in the day when you had the skinny pants and shit. And then you have cut 2, which is our more contemporary, like a kind of boxy, cropped, slightly broader shoulder cut. And then you can tell because it has the 3 stitches here with the stitch in the ditch. So it's got like that sort of top set collar versus the inset collar. That's the cut 2, cut 1, and it's a little bit squared out. But the issue is they're both really nice cuts, but like now people have picked teams, and so we're like, oh, if we can only make one, like we can't pick a team, so we went with cut 0, which Tyler is wearing in a size medium. And again, was this what you would take?
Yeah, definitely this one. I tried on the small. It's not as good. The medium's the way to go.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. And then the cut 0, we were calling it the mean cut for a minute. It's actually the normie cut, if you remember that. We got tired of that name. And so it's a stripped down cut. It was actually designed for, because Dream Weight was so light, it had issues with the collars. But it sort of sits in between cut 1 and cut 2, but it's also different in some dimensions too. So it's not exactly in the middle, but it's a very basic, really easy to wear cut. And there it is on the man himself. All right, Willie, what more? What more can we say?
What do we talk?
Push pull. I don't know. I guess we could talk about the unknownness of it.
Yeah, you should talk about that.
Oh, I'm supposed to talk about it.
Talk about the shit better than
All right, let's see. I'll talk about it. Yeah, I mean, this is like the art, not science part of it, right? Like this fabric, in a strange way, reminds me of the injected linen, because it has a strange compulsion to us. It's different. It's not common, but we don't know what to do with it. We don't understand it yet. But it's nice, right? Like there's lots of things that we're like, oh, I don't understand that. That's garbage. Like I have no use for it. There's so many fabrics in this world. It's insane. Like, and so when we go to the fabric fairs, there's thousands of vendors, and each of those vendors has hundreds, if not thousands, of fabrics inside their booth, right? And so you can look at every single fabric that's in a given vendor's booth, but it's pretty much inconceivable that you can look at every single fabric in this fair. And so there's a lot of just gut take, quickly, whether it's visual or tactile, like there's a lot of touching of the fabric, right? Just trying to figure out what this is it interesting, do we want to dig deeper? And then this one caught, not really my eye, it caught my hand, right? I touched it, it was like, what is this, what's interesting? It feels different. And then, the mill makes certain claims that, again, like, we don't really back those claims. If they're accurate, sometimes the mills make claims that are technically accurate and are backed in science labs, but don't make any freaking difference when you wear them. Sometimes they make claims that are not true. Who knows, right? So what they're claiming is that this has a gradient in tension from the front to the back. And I believe how it works is that the tighter side is close to the body and the looser side is away from the body, and then water droplets wants to move from the high tension to the low tension, so it spreads out and doesn't want to go back through the tighter hole, right? So it's an interlock, right? 2 faces of the fabric, one face is a little tighter than the other, and the polyester and water is supposedly supposed to move through it, spread out, and not go back, so keep you drier next to the skin. Push pull. We're not making that claim. We're just using the name in an abstract sense. We like the alliteration, push pull poly. We're not saying it actually is drier than a regular poly, but it does feel a lot nicer. I mean, and that's subjective, right? So maybe some people love the feel of your standard shitty poly t-shirt. I don't. It feels amazing. Because it's an interlock with this varying tension, it feels really different, right? It doesn't feel like, spun poly is not that common, but it's not rare. It's out there. It costs more than regular poly. It's a really nice poly. It feels great. So that's part of the reason. And we're experimenting, we're testing, we're seeing. It's an intriguing fabric. We don't fully understand where it wants to go, and if we want to keep using it, so we make things. And we test them internally, and we're like, this is a nice t-shirt. Everybody puts it on. It's like, this feels really nice, right? It's different. How that works out over the long term and in the market, that's what we're trying to figure out. And the reason why we put out these experiments publicly is because we learn more that way. and that's what we're here for. That's what gives us the joy, is like making real things and learning real things about them, and then taking that knowledge and trying to improve it, get back in and create something even newer and even better. It's just a process of perpetual learning and pushing and opening up doors and trying to make the world a slightly better place. So, push-pull poly. Here, let's take a look at it. Again, like, I don't know, it's hard to talk about. Like, you can see it's relatively lightweight. I forgot what the weight is. It has this really nice hand feel, but it's sort of toughness to it at the same time. Like, you're not going to be able to like push through like this thing, It's like, obviously, like a bullet, a knife, whatever, it's going to go through, but it's really rugged, durable fabric. It should wear quite dry. In fact, it does. And because it's spun, it actually wears like kind of warm too. It's like definitely like more like your ski sport fabric than your, it's a summer sport. I don't know. But it's not like hot, so maybe the range goes all the way into summer. We'll see. 170. Yeah, so 170 is like a midweight tee. It's like a midweight tee, like the standard midweight tee is about 160, so it's like, and slightly heavier than 160, but I guess the midweight tee range is probably 140 is like becomes lightweight. So midweight is like 150 to 160 to 200 is kind of midweight. It really varies, but midweight tee, so you're not super light, not super heavy either. And again, there's like a very like open lightness feel to it, right? And you can even see like how it's like quite transparent in the light. It's not really that transparent on the body, although you could see Tyler's necklace when he was wearing it. But it's not like, I wouldn't worry too much. If you're super like worried about transparency, then yeah, I guess maybe there's denser knits, right? It's a loose knit essentially. And I don't know. The main thing is we're trying to learn. It's a new fabric. We're pushing it out there. And we're going to see what it says, right? We're going to give it its little time on the stage. Let us do its dance. And if we like it, then we're going to keep it around. A little audition.
Open set.
Yeah. Open set.
Yeah. It's like after the show, it's like then like you can come and like sign up for open.
All right, boom.
Open set. So.
Well, but it made it all the way to the experiment stage.
Yeah. Things that are not experiments don't make it. They like don't. They're like, no, I'm not going to sign up for open set.
There's a lot of fabrics out there that don't quite get that far. So this one's got something compelling to it, but we don't quite have a full grasp of it. Any last thoughts?
Nope. No, actually.
Tyler, wait a minute.
I think I'm gonna take this.
Tyler's just straight up taken. Oh yeah, let's put on the salt pink. Give him a salt pink. Is that a cut two?
Yeah.
All right, so Tyler right now is in the concrete gray cut two. He's gonna put on the salt pink cut.
That's cut two.
Isn't it? That's cut two. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get him into the salt pink for the comparison. Where the colors, concrete gray. You can see. And so concrete gray, the reason why it's called concrete gray, not just concrete, is that it's based off the same, it's the same, this is the same reference as concrete. If you have concrete pants, it's the same reference Pantone. Pantone's actually called Satellite, I think. But when it came out in the Merino, it came out a little grayer, a little more washed out than it does in a lot of other ones. And so we said, let's call it concrete gray. So it's referring to, but not exactly the same as those other ones in the reference. Salt pink.
Nice color.
Yeah. Got that glow. Nice, easy to wear. Relatively light pink with a slight orange hue to it. Boom. There it is. Cut two. So cut two is like a little bit broader in the shoulders than the cut one. Right, and slightly more cropped, and then it has that more prominent neck, like a tighter neck as well. So bigger, tighter neck, and it also makes it really easy to size up in that smaller neck, right? Because size up a few, and you still don't get the neck stretched out. All right, let's see if there's any questions. How much shedding expected with this style of poly? I mean, it's a spun yarn, so like there's a possibility that it might shed a little bit, but it's not brushed or anything, right? So there's probably like slightly more than if it was a filament, but I wouldn't expect like crazy amounts. Like the weight is not going to change dramatically over time.
I've worn it a couple times and I haven't noticed it like transferring on anything else, but
yeah. I need a big restock of Bombworks. That's not going to happen, but there will be Strongworks. We're pushing the Strongworks of the Bombworks. I know that there's always a preference. I personally prefer the Bomb Twill fabric over the Strong Twill, but a lot of people prefer the Strong Twill, and our current spaces for the works, we're going Strong. All right, what else do we got? Hilarious voice modulation from Video Lag. I don't know. I can't hear that, but do you hear that, Willie?
No, because I can only hear your voice.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, that's the joke. Yes.
Oh.
How does concrete gray compare to gray light? It's a lot more concrete. It's a lot more tan. Do we have a gray light around here? I don't have gray light. I could probably grab a here. If people hold this, I'll go grab Pantones, and we can give people the reference comparison.
Yeah, this has a little bit more beige in it. The concrete. More like maybe a wet concrete.
Okay.
Like a wet concrete might be.
Okay. I like that.
Like a really dry concrete would be super gray, right? This is more tan.
Would sizing up for the push-pull tank be weird?
I didn't do that, but
I don't know if that's your gig.
I did one and it seemed to fit fine. I think you could probably do it.
All right, so here you can see.
You want it back?
Hey, sure. Yeah, that's a really good. So this is the reference, right? So this is what like most of our concretes, and sometimes if it comes out really different, we'll give it a different name. This is the reference Pantone Satellite. Interesting, really interesting. If you break down Pantone's codes, right, the first two numbers are how dark it is. The second two are the hue, and this is what's weird about it. Like most tans are nowhere near this hue. This is a 38, which is in like the bluish side of purple, and then the 00 is the chroma, which is very similar to saturation. There's a technical difference, but for the most part, you can think of it as saturation. And so you see that 00 has like no saturation. So this is essentially what they're saying is like a hyper desaturated purple, and you can see that it came out slightly different between the two, and that's why we ended up calling it concrete gray, which ironically it got even more desaturated than desaturated.
This is in the purple space?
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
I had no clue about
always been. And that's why the concrete's such an interesting tan. And so gray light Pantone is called Gray Dawn. You can see that it's 14 in the darkness, so it's significantly lighter, right? They're saying it's 2 notches lighter. Again, Pantone's numbers suck. They're fucking like, so you can't read too much into them. They don't feel scientific. And then the hue space is 41, which is very much solidly in the middle of blue. So it's like a pale blue. And then the saturation is 06, which is, anything under 10, it varies, but under 10 tends to read relatively gray. So it's like the middle of the gray space, but it has a little more of that blue cast, according to them. And so that's the Pantone reference. Obviously, Merino comes out slightly different. The reason why we use gray light so much, is Gray Dawn Pantone so much, is it tends to be the lightest gray color that we can get in Merino without going to yellow. Merino, natural wool has a yellow tinge to it, a creamy tinge to it. And so if you put a white in it, it's going to come out creamy. If you put a light blue in it, it's going to come out a little green. If you put a light red in, it's going to come out a little orange, right? And so like the really light grays tend to cast yellow, and we find with Gray Dawn that we can, sometimes we can't, but usually we can get Gray Dawn to match quite nicely. Yes, somebody said we may have noticed you guys kind of are interested in textiles. Yes, that's maybe true. Can we share more what's coming in next week's? I think we got some Raglans, right? What's coming? Raglans?
Yes, inject Raglan.
Yeah, if people want to go looser but are tall long, torso cut 3 is pretty good.
Remember, it's a loose knee.
Yeah. People want to see other colors in overkill mesh. Do we have? We used all the gray, huh? No? I don't know. Sizing up 2 for the push-pull tank may fit weird. It'll be loose, but it's probably fine. If you want a loose tank, it's probably fine. Any interesting spring summer things on the horizon? Yeah, we put out a teaser though a little bit ago, so we're not going to get too much in spring summer right now. There's lots coming. What else? That's it. That's the end of the questions. Any last words? What are you wearing, Willie?
No.
No last words.
Last words.
No last words. That's out.
I'm wearing
Tyler.
whatever this is. I don't know
All
how
right.
to describe it.
Tyler, no last words. Peace. All right. We're out. This stuff should go live in 3 minutes. Catch you later. Lots to come. Spring is coming. It'll probably be relatively slow the next couple weeks, and then the flood. So check you later. Peace.